Alright, we got another replay submitted by Johanna.
Battle commencing in control them and let loose the Dragon Knight.
So far, the only thing I'm noticing is that every time a Condemn is pulled, Johanna always tries to blind the targets that she condemned. Blind shouldn't be used as a damage dealer. Blind barely does any damage. I think the damage it does is less than 100. It has to be used as a blind. Stop them from auto attacking, lowering their damage. That means against the enemy team, the only person you really want to blind is Artanis.
Activate the shrine and the Dragon
Maybe Elizabeth.
Red team draws first blood.
It's hard to see it because of how fast the Johanna's animation is on her Q, but her Q basically works similar to the way Ragnaros's Q works. So what you want to do is auto attack and then immediately Q. This would pretty much reset your auto attack animation. It'll give you a little extra DPS. It's not anything crazy, but if someone survived 1 HP, that's what would have kept them from not surviving. Every little bit of damage helps. Again, that blind is just being used as harassment. It's just too weak to do anything for harassment. It needs to be used as a blind. It's okay using it to stop the opponents from capping a point or something, because it does have pretty decent range on it. But the damage it does is just pathetic. It's a waste of mana. Only use it to stop the opponent from landing auto attack. Prevent damage. Don't use it to harass. It's just making yourself run out of mana. You can see right here, Johanna's mana is starting to run very low, because that blind's being popped off cooldown to harass Stitches. I think this matchup, what Johanna really needs to do is just use Condemn to push the wave, and then go gank. Preferably bot lane, top's a bit far. Because this is basically a stalemate. There's no way she could kill Stitches, and Stitches pretty much has to hook her in her towers, while her D's down, to even like do any significant damage to her. So nothing's gonna happen in this mid lane. This whole mid lane thing is just basically AFK soaking. And that's never ideal. You always want to accomplish something. Again, that blind is recklessly being used. Can't stress enough how important it is to mana manage on every character. And right now, that blind is just killing her mana for very little in return. I mean, it's a Stitches Malfurion, then they're not exactly auto attack gods either. Honestly, looking at the enemy's comp, I don't really know the Johanna pickup, like the reason for it. It's not that Johanna's a bad character. She's not. She's fantastic. It's just you're not properly using her blind, and that's one of her biggest strengths. You pick Johanna reacting to a big auto attack, to a Zul'jin, a Raynor, a Bala, Somero. People whose a lot of their damage comes from auto attacks, because that blind really negate a lot of your damage. Well, their damage. I believe the Johanna pickup was unnecessary this game. But without seeing the bans or the person's character pool, it's hard to judge. Something like that.
Red team.
Wait, did that blind miss? It looked like it went backwards. I sometimes do that too. It's a latency thing for me personally, but it's always nice seeing someone else have that problem. Yeah, right here. Here comes the blind. That's just a misplay. The Q was even used backwards. So both blind and the Q are missed. The blind's not being properly comboed either. They're already stunned from the condemn. You blind them and then immediately pop your ult. You want to chain your CC. You don't want to stack your CC. If two people stun a person for 2 seconds at the same time, that's a 2-second stun. But if they chain the stuns, one right after the other one ends, that's a 4-second stun. Right here, this is a classic case of staying in your lane too long. There's only 3 minions here. However, in bot lane, Malfurion just showed himself that he's out of position. He's right here, with no teammate anywhere near him. And you can even see on the minimap that no teammate is anywhere near him. Because they have vision of Nazebo, they saw Stitch's recall, and they see Alarak. The only person that could possibly be next to him is Artanis, because they had no vision of him the entire time. So instead of doing this crap in middle, this whole condemn and AFK in middle, what Johanna should have done is just straight up go bottom, gank, and kill the Malfurion. He's insanely out of position. He doesn't even have a fort. Look how far out he is. That's a free kill right there. You shouldn't stay in lane so long. Regardless of what character you play, it's okay to leave your lane. There's more to this game than just soaking XP. Roaming is incredibly powerful. If you get a few kills roaming, not only are you denying the enemy team XP by keeping them dead, you're keeping their numbers lower than yours so they can't do as many plays. And on top of that, you're even tilting the team. Because we know how toxic our community is. You die a few times on a character, the team is going to chew you out. So that was a missed opportunity right there by Johanna. Really good engage right here by Johanna, but still, that Malfurion should have been dead from the get-go. The reason why learning auto attack reset is such an important mechanic is because Q is a pretty short cooldown. The difference is you can do Q auto or you can do auto Q auto, because the Q would reset the animation on your Q, allowing you immediately another auto attack if you time it right. It's a small thing, but it could definitely make a difference in the game. How many times do people walk out alive with low HP? Or something like an auto attack would have killed them. I'm also noticing the the passive on Johanna, is being used a bit recklessly, just like the blind. You only need to use it if you're about to get CC'd or if you're in some kind of danger. Hell, even if you're about to take a good chunk of damage. When they're not targeting you at all and they're targeting your team, there's really no reason to press it. You're just putting it on cooldown. Yeah, that was proper use of the D. So a bit of a misplay that happened right there. The team did the right thing, focusing Stitches, because of how much out of position he was. Like, look how far out he is. He's pretty much surrounded by the enemy team. There's a player right here, here, and here. He's so out of position. So focusing was the right thing. But Johanna's damage on him really doesn't matter. What you should have done instead on Johanna, just go right here towards their backline. Because Stitches is out of position. He can't defend the backline right now. And just start laying into that Malfurion. This will pretty much make sure that Stitches is not getting any heals. Applying pressure to their healer when they're out of position is good. Like, it's fine if your backline is focusing their tanks when the tanks are out of position like that. But you yourself should look for an opportunity to go on their backline or heal for your team. That's the most value they could get out of you. Because someone like Johanna, the damage is really pretty much non-existent. That Burning Rage is possibly all of Johanna's damage. Which is fine. I mean, she wasn't meant to be a damage dealer. It's just a little damage on a healer applied is so much more valuable than a little damage applied to a tank. Stitches have been getting a lot of hooks this game, and this is because of the obvious pathing. If you watch the way his team walks, including himself, everyone's pretty much constantly walking in straight lines. This is starting to be a very common pattern in games, like in lower ranked games, where your pathing has to be a bit more unpredictable, just so you don't get hooked off cooldown or hit by skill shots. For the most part, Johanna's playing good. It's just little things that can be changed that can make this from good to great. Gaining damage to that Malfurion, forcing him to heal himself over the tank. Zoning their backline while your enemy team is fighting their front line. As long as you're not putting yourself in danger to the point where you might die, zoning their backline while your team's fighting their front line is fine. It's a good tactic. Constantly hear people saying, oh, what? Artana zoned 2 of you? Yeah, he's good. He's tanky as shit, and he has an okay damage output. Same idea here. Right here. You see that he's channeling Unstoppable. Instead of standing still right here and hitting him non-stop, what you really should have done is just walk around him. Hit him, take a step. Hit him, take a step. Hit him, take a step. Until you get to his sides. Until you get to a point where that ult will not hit you. But kiting a melee character is important. I know that didn't put John in any danger, that didn't really do that much damage, but that's still damage you didn't have to take. Could have been completely avoided. And he would have died just fast and easily. Melee characters do have to kite. There's no exception to kiting. They don't kite as often as ranged characters, but they still have to kite. This late in the game, I highly encourage for the team to stay as 5. To even encourage your own team to stay as 5. Right now, the top can get picked off. If they engage the siege camp, that'll be a big problem. The enemy team is grouped up nicely. However, the red team, they're all over the place. This is very dangerous for them. And it's unnecessary risk. It might work now, but as you start climbing up the ranks, this is just And the first one got picked off because how far this spread apart.
The shrines are gathering power.
Looks like KT's about to get picked off as well.
Calls from within stone.
And there goes KT.
Hero slain.
You just can't be that far apart. Tank should not split push unless your ETC would stage dive, or the Haka would tunnel. There are a bit exceptions to the rule. I mean, this late into the game, that is. There are a few exceptions. Outside of laning phase, really you shouldn't split push on tanks. Tanks such as Johanna, that is. So they're all grouped up together as a team. It's all fine and everything. I mean, mispositioning by the front line, the back line, completely. But right here. There is no reason for Johanna to go here. There's no reason. This shrine's already captured. Look, it's red. It's all red. But by taking your pathing like this, you pretty much expose your entire back line. Because you're the solo tank. There's nobody else on their team that's a tank. Nobody else in there that could even survive a big burst from their comp. So that's a big mistake. Because of this pathing right here, Stitches gets a free buff. Johanna's too far to react to it. And Sylvana almost dies.
Hero slain.
Just because something works out doesn't mean it wasn't stupid. That could just as easily have been punished.
Hero slain.
It's still a positioning thing. The tank should not be behind the team or on the sidelines. Like right now, what exactly is Johanna accomplishing by riding the pony back and forth? In MOBAs, every second counts. You don't want to sit still doing nothing. I understand that she's waiting for the DK, but let's look at their team. They have how many dead? There is nobody that can contest that DK that needs to be captured immediately. So what Johanna should have been doing is being with her team right here. Because if Nazeebo, by any chance, would overextend and just stand right here, Johanna could have easily used her ultimate, throw it at him, then condemn him, and they would have killed him. And that would have been a full-blown team wipe. Instead of standing right here waiting for the DK.
Red team has destroyed a fort.
That was a lot of time wasted doing nothing. It's a small thing, but again, every second counts. A lot more could have been accomplished. So the mispositioning starts right here. So the wall is still up, and his team is still trying to break the wall. But the Dragon Knight's already moving forward. Taking damage from a tower, about to take damage from a keep. These three players right here. Look at the health bar. It's at 82% right now. Look how much free damage is taken right now. 80, 79, 78, 76. He's already below 60s. His health bar reached 50%, and his team is finally in position to react to this push. So that's what, 20, 30% of the health bar just wasted? Really good knockback right here. This is actually something that needs to be complimented. Stitch is just ulted, and that knockback is going to send his ass right back home. Again, the DK is being wasted. He's just walking around in circles, going back and forth with the DK, like this. Back and forth, taking a lot of free damage. Just pay attention to that health bar. He has a few options here. He can either back up with his team, wait till they regroup. He still has a good amount of time with that DK, 36 seconds. Or he can just go straight up for the keep and back up and get a little extra damage on it. Either way, the worst thing he can do is walk around in circles taking damage. Look at that. Just wasted a lot of that DK taking free damage because he was a bit out of position. Proper use of vehicles is important. Honestly, if their defense at mid was that good, you could have always just took the DK back and drove to bot lane and just took those towers out. Taking down those towers and the wall could be better than getting nothing with DK mid. Like, the moment he took the towers and the gate at mid and saw that they weren't going to get any more out of it, just rotate. Go to a different lane. The only exception to it is Dead Bridge. Do not go top lane. That tight choke is a really big problem for both teams. Bad things happen in top lane. Bad things happen to good people there. Now right here, the enemy team is doing something incredibly silly. Nobody wants to tank it.
Hero slain. Soon the shrines shall awaken the heroes.
So from the looks of it, so they basically wiped the enemy team. But they didn't really get anything out of it, because nobody wanted to tank this. Artanis could easily tank it. You wipe the team and you take a camp and you do a little damage on the fort. Like, come on, guys. You could easily be capitalized on it. That could have been the keep. Hell, at least a fort, something. Just push the advantage. Do something with it.
Activate the shrine.
Tanks can't be afraid of tank. Especially when the majority of the enemy team is dead. Right, it starts off fine, trying to condemn them. It didn't work out or anything, but right here is where the problem goes. So Johanna was originally right here. Instead of pushing up with their team, because this is dead, there is no fort there. Instead of pushing up with the team like that, Johanna basically went this way, causing her backline to be exposed to the enemy team. So right now, if Artanis gets a swap or something like that, that's a big problem. Easily punishable. Right there, Artanis goes on the backline. Alarak can get a big pull. You can't hide behind your team as a full HP tank. It's a mispositioning error that's way too easy to punish. Again, just because something works doesn't mean it was the right move. This is one of the worst possible things you could do in DK. It drives me insane when people do it. Look at the minimap. They have 2 dead. 1, 2. Look at the minimap. Their team is not there. They're just straight up not there. Look how far out of position these two are. Those are free kills. Especially since Johanna has her ult up. Condemn is up. They should be a free kill. But instead, the DK, here, you're not safe enough. Let me send you to safety. Also, Johanna should have really ulted right there and then Haziba. He was pretty far out of position and outnumbered. Don't be afraid to burn that ult. Hold on to it too long. It's okay to ult one target if it's going to give us a kill. But that DK kick, that was just throwing somebody to safety. Hell, even if they didn't kill him, they could have at least gotten a lot of free damage on him. Because he had to walk all the way back to that heat. So in this scenario, Johanna could have easily turned around and just started laying into these guys. Especially since she has Indestructible and her D is still up. They're retreating because Savannah's health bar. However, KT, big AoE mage right next to her. They could have done a lot of damage on him. Also, time spent fighting each other right now while there's a DK and a siege camp, he could end the game. He could just straight up end the game with the siege camp while they're busy fighting each other. That was an unnecessary disengage. Now that DK can't end the game and the siege camp's gonna get killed. Salama wouldn't have been able to fight. She was low health, but KT was fine. And you guys weren't exactly outnumbered either. Again, this solo shit this late into the game, insanely dangerous. She almost died to the bruiser camp on top of that. Like, you gotta encourage your team. Once you get past that laning phase, once you're like level 13, hell, even level 10, you gotta start grouping. Just encourage your team to group. There are exceptions. Certain maps push it later, laning phase, but you really need to encourage your team to group. Just typing a few words, group please, could be enough to win a game. A bit of a pattern error right here. Johanna is getting pretty low, so she's trying to retreat. But she's retreating this way, while the rest of her team is running that way. That's basically going to split you off from your team. On top of that, your healer is the one that's going to save you. He's also the one healing your ass. You want to stay close to this guy. And if this guy's going that way, that's where you go. You hold his hand and you go that way. Right now, if Johanna runs like this, from the looks of those health bars, Artanis could just collapse on her, just keep chasing her down and kill her. Right here, look how much time is being wasted. All that time is spent just walking around. I understand that she's low, but she could have been being healed by Lucio this entire time instead. So Lucio, he has that powerful healing.
Blue team's core is under attack.
Right there's that beautiful tunnel. 3% of target's maximum health each second, and he turns on his E. A lot of healing John could have had. Could have been back in the fight with that healing. Just gotta be aware of which way your team goes and try not to be off by yourself.